Hi, welcome to this presentation on the AcePos Touchscreen system. Now, this system is meant to manage all your F&B outlets such as restaurant, cafe, bistros, karaoke, and so on. You can maintain all your restaurants or cafes at one central point or by individual outlets. So what are the main functions of this system? It helps you issue bills, including e-invoices, manage your inventory quantities for those items that can be tracked quantity by quantity. If you are doing cooking, you can manage your food cost by percentages. If you got VIP customers, you can track their purchases, how much money you make from each of your VIP customers, track your suppliers' costs, and track your staff attendance. And also, you can manage kitchen and bar printers from this system. The system is very easy to use. It uses a touchscreen. It has buttons showing all the products that you sell, and also you can even put pictures into the individual buttons as well. You can also link this system to a table QR system where the customers can scan the table QR or your waiters can scan the table QR and enter their orders. So let's go into the actual system itself, enter the user's name and the password, the date of the system, and you'll come to the main menu. Now inside the main menu, there are a lot of functions here. Maintenance is where you set up all the stock codes, VIP codes, and so on. The configuration of the system. The posting section is where you do your post operation, where you issue bills, update bills, and send, for example, e-invoice, consolidated e-invoice for the month. And then there's a report section, that all the reports that you can get from the system. And the other section is where we start to configure the system, like what sort of printers do you use and so on. This is where the main menu is. So let's have a look at the individual section. Under maintenance, you have set up for VIP customers. VIP customers is where, for example, regular customers come in. You can actually set in their individual details here, and then you can go to a second page. If they are regular, for example, for e-invoices, you will need to put in their tax numbers and the information that's needed to produce e-invoice. If they are regular customers who always ask for e-invoices, you can also attach their photos if you want to. Now under this section, you also can create credit cards. For example, different type of credit cards they use, or you can have different type of e-wallets they use, or even staff accounts. So this maintenance will allow you to create all these sort of individual accounts. Now the next option you have is promoters. Promoters are people who help you to sell. For example, it can be waiters, waitresses, people that you even pay commission. You can set up different accounts for these sort of people who are working in your site if you are paying commission and so on. So this is where you set up the individual promoters code. Then we have GL Link. We can actually link to our ACE accounting or some other accounting system where you can set up different type of sales categories. For example, sales of food, beverage, and so on to analyze your sales. This is called GL Link accounts. You can create this and link it to the individual stock item that you sell. Now next you have your stock. This is where you maintain code for all the items that you actually sell at your F&B outlet. So it can be multi-locations. For example, if you have many locations, you can do multi-locations, or you can be individual stock items, maintain stock item with a cost hidden with a password. You see, you can create items like this. For example, this is a restaurant, or you can create codes for raw materials that you use if you are doing food costing. See, these are the items that you sell. You can divide them into different type of categories, departments. You can create different type of categories, for example, and then you can control it to what sort of printers, kitchen or bar printers. And then you can have barcodes even, and then description, selling price, and whether you are controlling quantity. Some items can be controlled by quantity, you take it. Some items that cannot control quantity, you remove that. And you can keep what is the minimum quantity you want the system to inform you, and then what sort of sales code and so on. Selling price, what is the selling price that you have maintained. Now these are things that you can actually create for every individual item. And then you can even specify for each item whether you can give discount or not, whether you have service charge on that item, and whether the promoters are entitled to commission for that individual item. So you can maintain this through individual item, and you can even control, for example, what is the minimum sales value that you have in order to allow the sales. Now under this stock option, there's a lot of other sub options. For example, you want to duplicate stock to new locations. When you open new restaurants or cafes, you can just duplicate all the existing items to a new location to indicate a second cafe, a second restaurant. You can update certain changes under this update stock master, delete stock range, and so on. And one of the main thing is maintaining package, sales package. For example, when you do sales package, which restaurant, let's say you have multiple restaurant, what sort of package do you have? For example, you have set breakfast, set dinner. Inside the set breakfast, what are the items that you offer and so on, whether there are additional prices and so on. Now all these packages setting is all also inside here under this particular option. Now you can also set promotion table. That means for specific item total sales or for members points, for example, which means, for example, you may have normal discount, you may have quantity discount, and so on. These are promotion that you can set inside here, and the system will automatically apply whichever promotion that applies for that particular customer when it comes in. So you have range of dates, when are the promotion available, what is the name of the promotion, does it only apply to VIP customers, and so on. You can select all the stock items. Now all these settings are inside here for you to set promotions, best buy, purchase to purchase, and so on. You can set currency exchange rate. For example, people who come, you may pay you in Singapore dollars and so on. What is the exchange compared to Malaysia? Okay, and then you can have suppliers, individual supplier. You can create their codes so that when you do purchases from them, you actually have a purchase price report as part of the system. That means what is the last item that you buy from them at what price. You can have that. And we also have a special feature for sending out sales letter. That means when you're doing special promotion, you can send them to SMS or you can send it to email, for example, to individual customers. Of course, this will apply only to where you have this VIP account already created, because you are based on this account, you have their phone numbers and their email, for example. So you have this, you can broadcast. So this is a very useful tool for you to generate more sales. You can set up special, you can create your own type of sales letter. For example, this particular one, you can edit. You see, we are having special promotion and so on. These are things that you can actually create sales letters and send out directly from the system via email or from SMS. So you can also set when are the public holidays, because some of your promotion table inside here may not apply to public holidays. So you can set what are public holidays this year, and then you can have preset remarks. I mean, sometimes when they want to cancel an order, what is the reason for cancellations, wrong order, special promotion, and so on, or customer complaint, you can set up all these type of remarks inside here. So the maintenance section I can see is actually setting up the system, configuring the system, what sort of stock do you sell, what sort of promotion do you have, and what sort of accounts you go back to, and so on. So maintenance section is basically for setting up all these details first before you can use the. Okay, let's go into the next section, which is actually the issue bill, the post-operation system itself. Cashier enter the password and their name. Now you can also use smart card for this if you want to use smart card, but then you have to install smart card readers. Then what is the cash flow they put inside? And the system will print an activation slip. You're supposed to keep this, and then at the end, when you end the session, there's a deactivation slip. These two are supposed to be stapled and paired together. The system will then go to the actual input screen. Now you can have custom layout. You can see you can have custom table layout here, or you can have just normal table layout 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. And you have different section of the restaurant. For example, you can actually custom layout the thing. Now, if you are linking this system to a table QR, you can actually print the table QR, pick the table, and the printer will print out a table QR slip to pass to the customer to input their own orders. This is optional. You may link or don't link to a QR, and this QR has got two types. One is in-house, which means that it's not a cloud-based. It's a QR inside the restaurant itself they can scan. The other one is that the QR itself is cloud-based. That means the customers can use their own data line and go to a cloud system and actually enter their orders while you are at the restaurant. Now, to issue a bill, very simple. Select a table, how many guests, who is the promoter. If you are paying commercial, that means who is the waiter who's handling the order. So what are they ordering? For example, espresso, they just touch the screen. If it's juice, for example, touch what juice you want. If it's food, what sort of food, touch. And then you can hold. You can hold the bill, or you can hold and print the bill. If you want to print the bill as well, usually you will hold first unless the customer asks for the bill to settle. Now once you hold the bill, The kitchen order will be printed. This is a kitchen order. So depending on whether you set it to a drink counter, which is a bar printer, or a kitchen printer, the food will go to a kitchen printer, for example, and then the system will show that this table is now occupied. So let's say the next table comes in, table 5, how many guests do you have, who is a VIP. If you switch on the VIP, it can be, for example, select a VIP, maybe VIP have got special promotion and so on, or they are regular customers, you can select who's the one who served them. What are things they ordered? For example, they ordered 2 of this, and then they have soft drinks, they have say 2 Coke, what sort of food that they have, sausage roll, 2 chicken pie, and then you hold your bill. The bar printer will print the bar orders, drink orders, and then the kitchen will print the kitchen orders, and the system will go. Now you can see 2 tables are being occupied. So let's say the table 1 comes back and say that they don't want the pizza. Now if it's not been cooked, of course you can delete it, right? And you can control it with password. Not everybody can delete the item. If the person is authorized, they will ask you for the password of the person who's authorized to cancel the item, and it goes off, and then the kitchen order will actually send a order saying that the pizza is being cancelled. So maybe they changed to something else. They wanted say like fried vegetables, and then you can hold the bill again. So now you can see the kitchen order will show this item has been cancelled. The below item pizza changed with vegetables, and then the bill goes back to home. Now let's say they want to settle a bill, you call the table and you go for settlement. So your payment can be by cash, all these are the usual denomination, or it can be by credit card or even e-wallet. You can set up different e-wallets here as well. So let's say it's paying by cash, very simple. Let's say I give you 50 ringgit, press 50, and then the bill is printed, and all the items are listed, any service charge and any SST, if any, all will be charged into the bill itself. You can reprint the bill if you want to. If customer, let's say if your printer jams up or whatever, you can reprint the bill, but you still need to have a password to authorize the reprinting, and reprinted bill will show that this bill has been reprinted. So let's say a new customer comes in to table, sit at table 3, it's not any VIP, and then they order packages. For example, you may have set meals and packages. Let's say you have set breakfast or set lunch. Let's say you have set lunch. Set lunch, maybe these are the items you set up. For example, select one of you want coffee, espresso, iced lemon tea. Okay, then you go to the next thing. Is it a pizza or roast lamb? These are the offers that you set into the package. Let's say I want roast lamb, and then the system will come out. You see there's only one charge, set lunch, and then you can get 1 drink, which is iced lemon tea, and 1 roast lamb. Now how these packages work is up to you to set up, depending on how you set up your item. So the drink will print the drink orders, the kitchen will print the kitchen orders, and then the table will be. Now there are also functions for takeaway for customers who are already sitting in the restaurant with a table, or those who walk in. Those who walk in without table, for example, they want to do a new order, they want to order something, whether it's a VIP, if it's not VIP, normal cash sales, so same thing, who served them, what do they order? Let's say they want 2 flat white, and they wanted say a mango juice, then you can hold the bill, and then the kitchen will prepare the food and so on, right? Once that is ready, go to intent, you can look at this order, edit the order. These are the things that are ordered, they can settle. For example, if it's takeaway, so straight away pay ringgit, you can see it's written here takeaway. Alright, the items takeaway will be printed here as takeaway, and then the bill will be printed also will show takeaway receipt. Now you can also have delivery option. For example, who is the new order? For example, somebody ordered, let's say this particular, now delivery we need address, so this particular person selected VIP. Is this the address you want to send to? Yes. If not, you can amend the address here itself. Okay, so corrected. And then what are the items they're ordering? For example, they wanted 2 sets of chicken wings, and they wanted a beer, for example. And then if it's delivery, you can hold it or you can settle it straight away. Let's say if you settle it straight away, how much you're paying, say 20 ringgit. See, you will come out who is the rider been assigned, delivery is written there, delivery written there, and then the receipt will be printed out as well. Then the address will be printed on the receipt that this is a delivery. Now for delivery, when the rider returns, you have to pick up the item and says that rider has returned, then it's considered as concluded. So let's say bills on the close, same thing, pay by settle, pay by credit card, for example. What's the amount you pay by credit card? Now we can also link it directly to a credit card machine, but this depends on which supplier is supplying you the credit card machine. We only work with certain type of companies who supply the credit card machine. Now you cannot find that, you cannot, then you can do a manual. You can actually enter the last 4 digits of the card, for example, and then settle the bill. So the credit card machine, we can link directly to a credit card machine, but it has to be from certain supplier because there is software interfacing with those credit card machine involved. So settle next bill, for example, settle and setting it to a MasterCard. How much is the amount? Waiting for the machine. If there's a machine connected, we don't have, do a manual, enter card numbers, settle, okay, and the bill will be listed up. Now, if the VIP has special discount inside there, if the VIP name is listed and your special discount, the discount will automatically be deducted in the bill itself. Now, there are a lot of other functions here. You press the function button, for example, you want to catch what's the current cash balance inside your till. Or you can even print a daily sales report if you want to under preview, or actually print to a printer straight away. You can actually do this inside the system. Okay, you can do payout. For example, if you're paying for some maybe newspapers and so on that you take out as petty cash, you can do that. You can split bill. Sometimes the bills when issued, you want to split between two people when they pay. You want to combine table, for example. You want to do a safe drop. That means you have a lot of cash inside the cash till. You want to safe drop it. You can do that. You can reprint a bill, or you can print a full tax invoice if you want to. Now, if the customer asks for e-invoice, you can also do a request for e-invoice. Or you can, if the e-invoice is already validated, you can actually print the e-invoice for the customer, or the customer cancel bill, and so on. All right, there is a lot of functions inside here. Now let's say the customer asks for e-invoice, you can click it and you can put in what is the bill number that was issued earlier to that customer. So let's say it is bill number 62, for example, select the bill, and the system will submit the e-invoice if that belongs to a VIP, for example, and you have the VIP details of that person. Then you will automatically submit the invoice if you have. If it doesn't have, then you give a QR code for the customer to actually scan and enter their details. For example, their TIN number, which is their personal tax number, their NRIC, name, address, and so on. We need this information in order to be able to submit for e-invoice on their behalf. Now, during a submission, if the income tax server is busy and you cannot get it validated immediately successfully, the system will automatically do a resubmission again. Now, once it's already ready, the customer can scan this same QR code given to them in the receipt, and then they will be able to download their own e-invoice in PDF form. Now, for those invoices that have been submitted individually, the system will omit them. At the end of the month, your company will have to actually send in a consolidated e-invoice. That is for all the invoices that were not individually selected to be submitted as e-invoice. That means if none of your customers ask for e-invoice, then the total of the bills issued for the month has to be submitted as a consolidated invoice. Now, when the cashiering ends, the cashier will exit system. Now, you authorize whether he's authorized to exit the system. Sometimes it gives to supervisor. The total cash balance will be in a till will be shown, and then a deactivation report will be printed. And this will show all types of payment, how many bills are issued, and so on. What is the bill number on bill number? How much cash collected, card collected, or e-wallet collected? All will be listed out, and then also any cancellation will also be highlighted, so that you can check, say whether there's any unauthorized cancellation by people. You actually know who was the one who canceled, what was the item that was cancelled, and so on. So this is for you to counter check the system upon deactivation. So other options under this posting will be like update bill. If you are not running your bill to be online update at the same time when you issue, then you, at the end of the day or end of the month or whatever you need to update your individual bills, you use this option. Or you can have staff attendance. What is your staff code? When they come in, they actually clock in. And then for the e-invoice, for those invoices that were not requested by individual customers as individual e-invoice, you have to do an e-invoice consolidated for the entire month. So this needs to be submitted before the 7th of the next month, according to the current guidelines. So you can select which month to consolidate. System will automatically consolidate all the invoice for you at one go. All right, so it's very easy. So all the bills that you issue for the month is already in the system. System will gather them and issue one consolidated invoice and submit to the income tax department straight away. So under this posting option, you also have purchases. If you're controlling stock, for example, for canned drinks, bottled drinks, and so on, then you can use this option to key in all your purchases. Okay, you can print out print journal, what is the reference number of the bill number, who is the supplier, and then which location are you supplying to, what are product that you actually sell. For example, you're controlling the canned drinks, and then how many drinks you bring in, 100, at what price you bring in, and so on. See, so all this you need to post if you're controlling the stock lah. That is, for example, you brought in 50 units of this, and then you do a posting, and this will update your stock balance as well at the same time. So this is how you can control your stock. For those items that is set as non-controlling stock, then of course you cannot post the purchases for those items. Now those you can use percentages, right? There's a percentage costing for items, for example, that you cook. Now you also have stock take option. When you do stock take, you can actually do all your stock take posting inside here. Alright, so that you can actually adjust all your individual item once you've done a stock take. We also have stock transfer. If you're running multiple outlets, for example, you can use system at HQ, and then at HQ you can actually do transfer. You can print out transfer form when you transfer stock from one outlet to the other. You can do that as well. Or the outlet return goods, for example, to HQ, you can actually print and return outlet note as well. That means you can actually do a return and print out a document, for example, a return document if the outlet is returning goods to HQ. Okay, for example, say you have a return to whom, to a company or to a HQ, return by whom, remarks, okay, which location is returning, in restaurant, what product are you returning. For example, I may be returning, say, Carlsberg can. I return, say, 5 of them is damaged or something like that. Let's say put 5 can and so on. Then you post. System will print. You can print a blank form. You can actually print a whole document of a return note, see, for the outlet. So when you return, somebody have to sign for this, you see. So all delivered by whom and so on. You can actually have a return outward note as well. Okay, next let's quickly go through all the various reports you can get from our system. First thing, you have daily sales. It can be by payment, by products. For example, list out all the product that sales now. This report will come out now. The system also is able to send out via email to you at certain time of the day via email. So you can have an email account, for example, loaded onto your smartphone. You can actually see this report. So maybe you set it at 12 p.m. or after lunch at say 2 p.m. The system will actually send out this report to you as well through an email, so you can actually see on your phone. And this is done automatically. So these are daily sales report. We have got post transaction report, which actually goes in detail of every item that you've sold for the day. Every bill, what was sold, what time was the bill issued, what are the items that you sell, and so on. So this is for audit purposes. When you want to check what are the items that you have sold for the day, this is a transaction report. It's very detailed. Every item that is sold is there in the system. We have peak hour sales report that shows you, for example, usually what time does a customer comes in, how many orders were entered from directly from the system, or how many were through web orders. If you link this to a web order system, the table QR, for example. So this report will actually tell you what time does the people comes in, give you some indication. Then promoters, if you have promoters, how much sales were done by which person. All right, if you are paying commission, then this will tie back to the promoter's code. And then you have promoters commission. If you're really paying promoters commission, you can actually see the commission is calculated based on percentage or sales value or whatever, how you set it into the system, right? You have this. Then the total sales by individual promoter. If you have your cost password, you can actually see how much money you made out of those profit out of those promoters when they sell the items. See, each promoter, what did they sell? All right, this is a very detailed analysis of all the items that is sold by your waiters, orders taken by your waiters. Okay, we have GL-Link reports, which actually analyzes all the sales, for example, what sort of sales that it goes through. If you have separated by sales of food, sales of beverage, and so on, system will auto separate these sales figures for you. And actually from here, you can actually extract sales figure to put into whatever accounting system that you have. You can just pick up the figure from here and post into your accounting system. Then we have payment analysis. We analyze all sorts of payment. For example, for reconciliation, how much cash was collected on which day by which cashier, and then how much were charged to the credit cards and so on. So all the details are here. See, Visa, Master, for example, what were the charges? You can select this month by month to do a consolidation. And then you can also trace by collection on cashier on which day, in case you want to tie back the amount back to the cashier. If there's any missing cash, maybe the cashier will have to pay up the difference, or there's any extra cash. So this is the analysis of collection by cashier, by cash, card, e-wallet, and so on. There's an analysis of total collection done. Okay, one of the most important report is management report, management sales. For example, if you have your password for your course, you can select which period that you sold, and then there are different level 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. For example, if it's level 1, it's going to show you by department. That means total sales just on a very high level, beverage total sales and food total sales, and then SST. Okay, if you go to level 2, for example, you will be able to drill down. For example, in each department, beverage, your beer, coffee, and so on, depending on how you set it up. Okay, food, for example, you have breakfast, you have Chinese, lunch, or Western. If you set up this way, this is how you can analyze your sales. So it gives you a very detailed sales value, discount, and so on, and then net sales. And then if you know your cost, it can also tell you the profit and how many percent margin do you make, how much of profit do you make on each of the item in terms of percentages. Now, if you want very detailed item, you can go to level 4, for example. You see every item is listed. The sales is listed out for you. Your sales and the profit on every item and the percentage profit is listed. So these are very important report. Level 5, you give you by day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and so on. What is your total sales and total profit on by day? So this gives you indication which are your good business days and so on. Now, other important report, for example, will be like cancel bill. You can actually list out a cancel bill in detail, who canceled what bill on what day. In case you want to check, are they supposed to cancel this item? What would the item cancel? So you can trace that. If there's anybody who gives discount, you can also do a discount and then ask for detail of who gave discount on what items. Okay, so you can check who was actually giving discount in case you feel that there's some thing that's not correct. So there's also a service charge report, there's also a payout, and then there is also a F&B costing. Remember, I was telling you that you can actually set up percentages costing, but you would have to key in all the raw materials and put them against which are the items of raw materials. Then you'll be able to get a food and beverage costing report by percentages. Now, there's also a report on e-invoice submission. When the customer asks for e-invoice, for example, you can actually check, you see, which invoice was submitted on what date and time. Is that if it's not approved, what was the reason? You see, for example, in this case, NRIC Army mismatch does not exist and so on. So these are reasons if it failed, the submission is failed. Okay, if it's valid, then everything will be validated. You can see the data. And so this report helps you to trace for those people who ask for individual e-invoice as well as the consolidated one. This will be a consolidated e-invoice, for example, or consolidation. Now, the rest of the report you have is, for example, staff attendance report, if there's staff meal listing, if there's members who are members, regular members, how much they come to visit you and so on. You have actually all these sort of sales analysis report from them. And then on the stock side, if you are controlling your stock as well, you can have stock transactions, stock balance for those items, okay, and then sales analysis by stock, or even reorder report. That means to tell you which items already dropped below your minimum stock level, you should order. For example, stock balance, if you had, you can actually have a stock balance report, tells you the item, how much balance you should have. Okay, so you need to reorder. For example, if you're tracking by raw materials using a different location, it can tell you even your for example, coffee powder, how much is left, how many kg, and so on, what do you need to order. Okay, all these reports are already part of the systems itself. And then reorder, if anything falls below your minimum stock level that you set, system will highlight only those items that fall below, those that you're controlling stock. If you're not controlling stock, you will not list out. Okay, so this is things that you will come out in the reorder report, so you can actually order from your supplier. Now, if you're posting all your purchases in the system as well, you actually have a purchase analysis report. That means you list out all the items that you buy from individual supplier. Month to date, how much you bought, year to date, how much you bought from, what are the things that you buy from which individual supplier, every individual supplier, the items that you buy from them will be listed for you. So there's an analysis of purchases as well. Okay, when you come to the other section, this is actually for system configuration. So the main thing will be under administrative tools in the system setup. When you have set up your whole thing for e-invoice, you need your company details inside here, your tax number, your business registration number, SST, tourism tax number, and so on, who to contact, all that. You need to fill up all these. And then there are two servers. One is when you install a system, you'll be on the test server. That means you can test, we call it a pre-production server. You can actually test all your e-invoicing functions through a test server. When you're ready to use and you've tested everything is okay, you can go to a live server and then you can state what date you want to start your actually submission of e-invoice. So when you first start, of course, you put into a test server. When it's ready, then we put it onto the actual server by switching it over to the actual server itself. Now, as I mentioned earlier, under the administrative tool, you can actually do a setup whereby you can ask the system to auto export data. That means upon exit system, you actually send out sales report to you via which email. So you put your email account onto your smartphone, so you actually receive your sales report on your phone. So you can set at certain time, for example, every schedule it for every what time to what time, for example, at 3 p.m. or say like 3 p.m. for example, so it's 15:00 and so on. Then your system will actually send out the time to send out the report to you automatically lah. Whether you want in detail or you just want a summary report, you can actually do this. And then when you apply this at the same time, when the system is exiting a system, actually the system will send out the email. You can see auto send out the sales report to you.